answers.
I have an interesting philosophical question. One thing I never understood about karma is like, I don't remember. Like, let's say I did something bad in a previous month, right? Now I'm being punished for it. But the thing is, it doesn't make any sense because I don't remember what bad I did.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting punished, but I'm not getting the association to that punishment, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just randomly being thrown into a jail without being told what crime I did to be thrown into jail.
I can completely understand that.
What's the answer to this question? Why I'm being punished and I don't remember my crime? So it's like I'm being punished without remembrance of it.
For our Hindi audience, I would just like to say कि ये सवाल सबके मन में रहता है कि हमने जो किया था हमें पता ही नहीं है हमने क्या किया था तो हम उसके लिए सफर कर रहे हैं. But the thing is that there is something written in our shastras, वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय, which simply means that जब हम बूढ़े हो जाते हैं, जब हमारी एज हो जाती है तो हमारी सोल की भी एज होती है. नाउ हम यहाँ पे बॉडीली चीजों की बात नहीं कर रहे. We are talking in terms of soul level, okay? Soul language. कि हमारी आत्मा बहुत जन्मों से आ रही है और जा रही है, okay? It enters and it exits. तो हमारी सोल की जो मेमोरी है ना, उसी से हमें पता चलता है कि इस सोल की ये जर्नी रही है. That's why people come to me to get their akashic records checked. Because that's when they come to know okay, they must have not been loyal to their partners. That's why they are getting cheated. These things are not happening just like that. There is a whole soul journey involved in the process. So we need to understand that in a very deeper level. It cannot be understood in a superficial manner.
So even though my mind right now, Vivek's mind is not remembering the stuff I did wrong for which I'm suffering.
Yeah.
My soul
remembers.
Remembering and is learning the lesson.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's good.
And nature is smart, till the time you overcome your, like whatever you have been through and you don't break your negative patterns, it will keep repeating the same kind of patterns situations in life. So nature is the nurturer, but it is going to destroy you if you are not understanding what you are supposed to understand. If you are not learning anything, if you are not earning anything, then definitely nature is going to make you suffer all over again. And I always tell everybody that this world is a university wherein we have come to learn something. You know? So if we are not able to learn anything, we think that everything we are doing is right, we don't need to improve anywhere, there is no scope of self-improvement, your life would end. Even if you live for 100 more years, you just will be functioning as a vegetable, nothing else. So that's what my belief is.
Interesting. How would someone who's in business or someone like me, say a startup entrepreneur, what can we do with from the occult side, the astrology side, all this spiritual side?
I request everyone to listen to this podcast because the kind of questions he is coming up with, that is very well thought, they're well thought of. Because, if you do not ask such questions, people will never be educated. People will never know that, this is another perception, this is another way of learning. So you really need to, if you love me, because I'm going to share this with all of you. So if you love me, subscribe this channel, support him because he's doing a fantastic job. So that is what I want to say. Coming to the question, the thing is that first, you get your horoscope checked. If you have your time, date of birth and all the other necessary things which you need to give to the astrologer, you get your horoscope checked through a competent astrologer. He would be able to tell you that, this is what you're going through, this is a Mahadasha, Antardasha, and as per that, what you are supposed to do, which field you are supposed to take. Your entire journey becomes easier because if you are doing something which are not meant for you, will never be able to get success in that. Along with this philosophy, I am also a huge supporter of law of attraction and manifestation. Because if you set your mind on something, really, universe will conspire to give you everything. Okay, but the only thing is, are you determined enough to change your destiny? That is what the question is. It is nothing like people come to me and ask me that how can we change our destiny? How can we get our things done? It's like if you're determined enough, you're focused for 70 seconds, if you hold a particular thought, you actually are manifesting it. So if you are focusing on a thought, you will be able to change your destiny. What is the horoscope all about? Your past karmic accounts. Now, if somebody tells you that you are undergoing your Mangal Mahadasha, you are supposed to control your temper, and if you are controlling your temper, will you get into any kind of confrontation which will either spoil your relationships or your professional relationships? No.
So it gives you like a pre-warning, something for
Yeah,
you
you come to know that how to handle this particular situation. Astrology is not about scaring or giving you false hopes or giving you confusing your life or your energies. It's not about that. Astrology is very accurate, but astrologer might not be. So you need to first get in touch with a competent astrologer and 3 remedies along with it, which anybody who is going for a startup and is not able to get that kind of a breakthrough. 3 things you need to do. First is you must have heard about the stone known as pyrite. Wear a pyrite on a right hand because you need to receive money, receive opportunities. That is really good. Secondly, not for everybody southwest facing office suits or south facing office suits. So as per your horoscope, there are exceptions to all cases, but if it suits you and if you have an office which is northeast, north based, then it will fetch you more of opportunities and income. The third remedy is that you need to meditate, because when you meditate, your third eye gets activated. You will have the wisdom, courage and faith to take the correct decision, because you will be tuning into your divine connection. Your intuitive ability will become stronger. So tell me and give me an example of a person whose intuition is 100 on 100 and he makes mistakes. So you need to do that.
This brings up another interesting question for me. You talked about destiny.
Yeah.
Supposing my destiny is to be poor.
Yeah.
So then how can I fight it? Because that is my destiny. So I'm at my mind level, I might be, everyone wants to be rich, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who wants to be poor? Who deliberately wants to be poor.
Yeah.
Right? But some people, that's their destiny and they'll, no matter what they do, they'll be poor. So,
yeah.
I mean, what do you think of that? Is it possible that you can change your entire destiny?
Absolutely. Because this is something which even, I will give you a very interesting example. I went to an astrologer and he said that, your grandpa is not going to survive beyond 73 years of age. Okay. All the astrologers kept telling this to me in a repeated manner, that he is not going to survive beyond 73. So I am, as I told you, that I never say die. And I'm like, okay, so let's challenge it. Okay, so how I challenged it? There is a mantra in astrology in our, Vedic culture. We chant this mantra, which is known as Mrityunjay Jap. Everyone is aware about that. So the mantra goes like, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Badanana Mrityurmokshya Mamritam. So my Guruji asked me to chant this mantra 75 lakh times. I did it, I completed it in a span of 10 months. Trust you me, when my grandpa passed away, I am I can give you the evidence of it. So the thing is, he was 86 when he passed away. So that is how astrology and mantras help, and it's not a joke. I have helped such people.
But how many people have the discipline to chant it
That is
75 lakh times?
That's my question to all of you, that you want to change your destiny, all right, you can do it. You want to manifest, anyone can.
Wow.
All of us are equally important to the Almighty. Equally blessed we are, we are all at equally disadvantaged position. Okay, so
Right.
somebody will start their journey in 50 meters, some will be there in the 100 meter zone, but everyone is having some of the other disadvantage. But the thing is, are you determined enough?
My question was also tying into something I learned in my, when I mentioned earlier that I studied various different faiths, spirituality. The Western sort of way of looking at it is kind of, I'm talking about spirituality, not Christianity.
Yeah.
Was those that believe in reincarnation, their thought is more key, okay, you explore certain themes.
Yeah.
So in one life I am rich.
Yeah.
In one life I'm a man, in one life I'm a woman, in one life I'm this, I'm a thief, I'm a criminal, in one life I'm this. So in one life maybe I'm I'm exploring poverty.
Absolutely.
And I may become like a monk, I'll renounce everything and just live in absolute with no belongings at a monastery maybe something. So what about that? So maybe someone wants to only be poor and just focus on spirituality rather than all this accumulating material wealth and all that, because it's a job in and of itself. It's a headache sometimes.
Yes, it is.
You know, the happiest times of my year, I showed you the dance.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was just barely surviving month to month, but those were the happiest times of my life when I was doing that.
I believe you.
So, but anyway, so what do you think of that philosophy?
In the sense that, what do you want to know?
So
more
the
about
idea
salvation?
so the idea, their thought is that is, it's like playing cards. You get this card, then you have the full house. So then the soul is kind of learnt everything.
Yeah.
So would you agree with something like that? Or
and you're always given a choice that whether you want to reincarnate or you want to just, take moksha. So it's up to a soul. After all of us, like when it's our time to go. Now, this is another world. We finish the journey here and then we move on to the spiritual world. So now, when we are in that zone of transiting, okay, so the divine energies, it is very difficult for people to believe if you're not spiritual. You really need to be educated enough to understand that. I'm not asking you to get educated in some kind of a degree and all. I'm just asking you to be educated in the spiritual sector, that if you really want to come back to the life or you want to take salvation, it's up to a soul. And you're always given a choice. You're always in charge. We decide the kind of parents we are going to be with. We decide that whom we are going to be with. Everybody thinks that, okay, as per your karma, you're receiving it. No, it's up to us. If we are suffering in some aspect of our life, that also is the soul's journey. So people need to understand that.
But when the challenge comes is now again that soul to individual mental disassociation. So maybe my soul's decided whatever, but I, watching all this Instagram, YouTube films and all, I'm thinking, life should be like this.
Yeah.
And then there's that dissociation. That's where the challenge, because if I was in alignment with my soul is like, okay, you have to be poor, you have to go to a monastery.
You will know purpose.
But a lot of people, but then they don't align to it, a lot of people, I think.
They don't, because they're not meant to.
Achha.
That's another kind of suffering. If you don't know what is the purpose of your soul.
So working with that example, let's say someone is meant to go to a monastery, but no, he's trying to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
So obviously he will suffer.
Yeah, he will suffer.
But then how would someone like that understand that, hey, my soul has made this decision, this choice?
Yeah. So basically you need to understand that 60% of what happens in our life is our destiny. But 40% is our free will. So suppose if somebody is wanting to get into the glamour industry, okay, and parallelly, through his horoscope, astrologers have told that particular person, that you will also get into spirituality. So now that person wants both. How will that become possible? Very simple. That person who is already an artist can evolve spiritually. You're getting the point? That person can choose to evolve spiritually. He will behave in a spiritual manner, not in an artistic manner. So again, the thing is, there is a very thin line between the decision you make, the choices you are given, and the purpose of your soul. That's why I want all the viewers who are watching our podcast and everyone in the world, you should know your soul journey. For knowing your soul journey, you need to meditate, because our soul needs food, like our body and mind. Like all of us, we need food to eat. In the same way, our soul also needs some kind of a food to eat. That food of our soul is what spirituality gives us, meditation gives us. Because there are layers of health: mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all these things. So if your mind, body and soul are in alignment with the universe and the divine, your job is done. So you won't have such confusions.
And then when that happens, your manifesting also will be easier.
Very easy.
Very easy. Because that's one thing I've noticed also in my own life. some things I can manifest like that, and some things, no matter how much, I cannot manifest. And then here's another interesting question, and this is again something I've experienced in my journey. I had a lot of negativity, traumas, even past life traumas, whatever, and they were blocking the manifestation.
They do,
right?
They do.
And then it turned out this was in Los Angeles. I met with someone who actually could help me release those traumas.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I managed to do that. And then that was also a very significant part of my journey, because once all that was gone, I could do things, as opposed to...
That happens.
Yeah.
See, I always believe in the fact that all the problems, they will have a solution. But the thing is that how will you look for the solution? In the process, you encounter so many people who would be able to, push you towards the divine, push you towards the therapy.
What do you have in your bag of tricks to help someone release their negativity?
First of all, acceptance, of the situation. That suppose if somebody comes to know that I have only 6 months to live. Okay, and at the same time, now these things I can do, these things I can't do. These things I wanted to do. Okay, so this is one thing which you will know. So now the thing is that, again, you need to prepare yourself up. Okay, now the preparation can be of two kinds. Either you are already giving up or you are wanting to fight. You're getting my point. Somebody is having, diagnosed with cancer. That person has 6 months to live.
Okay, got it. So, you accept I have cancer and I'm going to die in 6 months, or...
Again, that is your choice.
Or you
want to fight?
I want to live many years.
Yeah. So, when you want to do that, the first solution to a problem is acceptance. Now, what all things can you do? So, in Hindi, we say, marta kya na karta. So when you are encountering problems, you want to seek answers. Why is this happening to me? What I can do to make my situation better, or what I can do to come back. In the process, you actually land up meeting spiritual leaders, people who are spiritually aligned. They are the ones who push you towards a solution. I will give you another small example. एक गांव में, again for Hindi viewers, एक गांव में एक पंडित था. ठीक है, ध्यान से सुनिएगा इस बात को, बहुत लोग इसे बोलेंगे नहीं. इसके बाद एक संस्कृत श्लोक बोलूंगी, वो आपको हर एक चीज का सार बता देगा. फर्स्ट इज, एक गांव में एक पंडित था, फ्लड आती है, ठीक है, बाढ़ आती है, और सब लोग भाग रहे हैं और पंडित जी को बोल रहे हैं कि भागो भागो, पानी भरने वाला है, एवरीवन इज गोइंग टू डाई. अब वो पंडित जी बोलते मुझे तो ईश्वर बचाएगा. चले जाते हैं सब. दूसरी बार कोई आता है, बोलता है अरे भागो भागो पंडित जी, पानी भर रहा है, अभी सर तक आ गया, मर जाओगे, मुझे तो ईश्वर बचाएगा. फिर वो बंदा, सारे लोग छोड़ के चले जाते हैं उनको. उसके बाद क्या होता है, पानी भरता है और वो जो पंडित है वो स्वर्ग चले जाते हैं, मर जाते हैं. ठीक है, अब वो ईश्वर के पास जाते हैं कि मैंने जिंदगी भर आपकी सेवा की, आप में इतना फेथ रखा, मैं तो मर गया, मुझे तो जीना था, मुझे तो इतना सब कुछ करना था. तो जो भगवान है, जो ईश्वर है, वो बहुत प्यार से स्माइल करते हुए, मुस्कुराते हुए बोलते हैं कि इतने लोगों को जो मैंने तुम्हारे पास भेजा, तुम्हारी रेस्क्यू करने के लिए भेजा था मैंने, तुमने उस चीज को समझा नहीं, तुमने उस चीज को मैंने समझने की कोशिश तक नहीं की, वो मैं ही था जो तुम्हें बचाने की कोशिश कर रहा, तो तुमने क्यों नहीं सुना. तब वो पंडित को समझ में आया कि दिस इज द वे आई एम सपोज्ड टू लुक एट माय लाइफ. इफ देयर आर some angels, God sent people who come to you and they make you realize that आपको ये करना चाहिए, तो वो यूनिवर्सल डाउनलोड्स हैं, वो ईश्वर आपको समझाने के लिए बोल रहा है. और ये आपको कैसे पता चलेगा? अगेन आई कम बैक टू द संस्कृत श्लोका. सुखार्थी न कुतो विद्या, विद्यार्थी न कुतो सुखम, सुखार्थी मत त्वजेत विद्या, विद्यार्थी मत त्वजेत सुखम. अर्थात जो सुख चाहते हैं जिंदगी में, जो सुख और शांति चाहते हैं, उनको विद्या कहाँ, मतलब नॉलेज कहाँ. जो नॉलेज चाहते हैं उनको सुख कहाँ. तो सुख चाहने वाले विद्या छोड़ दे और विद्या चाहने वाले सुख छोड़ दे. तो आपको अपने ज्ञान का परिणाम तभी पता चलेगा जब आप ज्ञान को हासिल करने के लिए सैक्रिफाइसेस करते हैं अपने लाइफ में. So that is what I want to say.
So again, I guess things being in alignment, meditating will help you become aware of these. Ki someone is going to help you. This has come to help me instead of.
Yes.
Yes. But my question was different actually. What I was trying to ask was, let's say, I'll give you a concrete example.
Yeah.
Let's say childhood mein someone is told ki you're useless, you're bad, you'll never succeed in anything.
Yeah.
And of course, lo and behold, he grows up and he doesn't succeed. So now he has this trauma inside of him, which, parents, teachers, whoever, this thing. How to remove that? I've been through it, I know, but I'm curious to know what you can.
पहले तो एक्सेप्टेंस किसी भी प्रॉब्लम का जरूरी है. उसके बाद आपको कैसे पता चले? हाउ कैन यू हील योरसेल्फ? इसी के लिए सारी टूल्स हैं आपके पास. You can go to an astrologer. You can go to an astrologer. आपको पहले तो किसी स्पिरिचुअल व्यक्ति से ही ये पूछना है that why am I suffering? What am I supposed to do? Okay, then there are healers everywhere nowadays. Healers हैं, वो आपको बताते हैं कि this is your pattern and this is how you will break your patterns and come out of your issues. तो उसके लिए आपको तो experts के पास जाना ही पड़ेगा. Otherwise आप खुद तभी समझ सकते हैं when you are spiritually aware from the day one, or your soul is a learned one. You have those karmas and you're born with it. Either you have that or else you encounter people and then you get to know the solutions.
You just said learned soul. What's the difference between a learned soul and maybe not a learned soul? Because I would imagine that all souls are the same.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But we all have different karmic baggages. We have our patterns. There are different disturbances in our family DNA.
So what's a learned soul as opposed to a non-learned soul?
Somebody who is aware of whatever is happening in one's life. That is supposed to be a learned soul. A person who knows that, okay, this is happening with me.
So it sounds more like he's connected to it.
Yeah, connected.
Because the soul of person 1 and person 2, I would imagine, be very similar. They're the same age. Souls are probably...
That's the difference between learned and ignorant, sir. That, if somebody is ignorant, that person will not be aware of what is happening in his life.
So his connection, his alignment is not there.
No, there is no alignment. There is no realization. And self-realization is the best realization. So you need to be aware of yourself. That is spirituality. And if you are spiritual from the day one of your existence, that means that you are a learned soul.
Great. One thing I've also run into, especially in India, but I'm sure this happens in other countries as well, is finding the correct people as opposed to, because there's so many these kind of astrologers, pandits, whatever, and then they're just frauds.
Yeah.
And then they cheat you of your money.
Absolutely, they do.
I've got cheated of my money from these type of people. One guy would just every day call and say, "Kaam badh gaya, zyada paisa do." He was supposed to do some puja for me. So he's saying, "No, aapka bahut bura kuch hai, your karma is too much. I need more money." And more money means I understood.
He kept taking.
Yeah, well, he kept asking. I understood that he's a fraud and I didn't give him. But the point is, he's a fraud. The point is, he's a fraud. And there's a lot of them. I would say majority are frauds, at least in India.
Yeah.
So how does one go about finding good people? I mean, obviously, you're someone, but...
How to know?
Yeah.
See, first of all, तो आप अपने बारे में जाके उसको कुछ भी मत बोलो.
I mean, horoscope and all तो देना ही पड़ेगा.
देना पड़ेगा, कई बार नहीं भी देना पड़ता है. अगर वो एनर्जीज में अलाइंड है तो वो समझ जाएगा कि इनको कष्ट है और इनको मुझे ऐसे हेल्प करना है. लेकिन आप अपने बारे में जाके सब कुछ पहले ही बता दोगे तो वो क्या बताएगा? वो तो बोलेगा हाँ आपको पितृ दोष है, मंगल दोष है, काल सर्प दोष है, ये आपके प्रॉब्लम्स है. लेकिन अगर कोई व्यक्ति आपको देखकर, आपकी ऑरा को देखकर ही पहचान जाए कि ओके नहीं, आई थिंक दैट ही इज सफरिंग, ही नीड्स हेल्प, तो इन दोस केसेस यू कैन बी रेस्ट एश्योर्ड ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट पर्सन नोज व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन टू माय सोल एंड माय जर्नी. मुझे क्या रेमेडीज करनी है सो दैट I can relax a little in my life. Don't trust anyone and everyone, and don't show also your horoscope to any random person, because they play with your energies. If people come to know that this is your weak time, so what they will do is, see, जैसे मैंने कहा, मरता क्या ना करता, तो आपके weak time में तो लोग आपको exploit करेंगे. वो पहले ही समझ जाएंगे.
It's easy for them to do.
It's easy to fool you, or any other person is going to attack you. There are spiritual attacks as well. You should be aware of that. कि अगर आप अपना see, a very recent controversy happened with Rinhee Suberwal that so everyone is aware of it. Now, he is a very good soul. It's not that he's not a good soul. Okay, everyone commits mistake. That's another thing. But where things started going wrong, this no one mentions. The thing is कि उन्होंने कोई व्यक्ति आए थे, कोई spiritual व्यक्ति थे, उन्होंने अपना horoscope ना डिस्प्ले कर दिया मीडिया के सामने और बोला कि ये मेरा राहु है, ये मेरा केतु है, ये मेरा शनि है, ये मेरा ये. You should be very, very protective about your horoscope.
Okay.
You should not show your energies and horoscope to anyone and everyone.
Right.
Because the energies do get compromised. There are spiritual attacks. People pass on their problems to you through energies.
Right.
You know, they know that, okay, this is where his energy is leaking now. This is how I take it from him and give my energy to him. So be very careful about it. लोगों को पता नहीं होता, वो अवगत नहीं होते सच्चाई से, and then they tend to suffer. But I'm like amazed by the kind of questions sir asked me, because it's amazing how a person can know so many things.
Well,
you know?
I've been walking around this earth for a while now. So
That's there, sir, but even
I've kept my eyes and ears open, and I've been.
You're very receptive and very observant about certain things in your life. That's one thing because of which you have so many questions. I mean, I have been to other podcasts as well, but you know, the kind of questions you're coming up with, the kind of questions you're framing, that is something which is having too much of an educative value. So that is something which not many people know and many people ask. So I'm very glad that I came today.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll get lots of views and all. And
surely.
We'll make shorts, and you can post those in your socials.
Absolutely.
So can we go back now again to the business entrepreneurship thing, because that is the theme of my channel. What you mentioned some things like direction of the office and stuff like that, and of course the general stuff, meditate and all of that. Anything specific, maybe more specific, like let's say someone is in this type of business, so what he should do if he's in software, electronics.
When you want your videos to go viral, let's talk about podcasts.
Everyone wants that.
Yeah. When you want your videos to go viral, what you're supposed to do is whenever you're making your content, you are supposed to face the south. That's the direction of fame. So, you will not even realize. You make it a habit that, whenever you're shooting a podcast or you want to go viral, you are supposed to face the south and then make your content.
So, like right now when we're recording this, we should be facing south. But,
south, yeah.
Well, but then we are both at opposite angles, so only one of us can be facing south.
Yeah.
Right?
So you should face the south.
Because it's my channel. Okay.
Because you are the host.
Yes. Okay.
So it's that way.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
That's a very good one. And the second thing is that if you cannot do this, then in the southern direction, like from the center of your space, the southern direction is for your fame. So what you're supposed to do, burn a red candle for 43 days?
I think I've heard also another thing, sleeping time, your head should be north and feet south.
It depends. That's also a very generic way of putting it. But in some cases I've seen that even the reverse is fine, even the opposite is fine. Many things are dependent upon your horoscope. So suppose if somebody says that you are a Manglik, quote unquote.
What is Manglik?
Manglik in the sense that, already everyone is smiling here. So the thing is, they are already aware of the kind of thing I'm mentioning. Manglik dosh is very important when a person is getting married. So suppose if you are Manglik and the other person is not, and if you get married to the person, it is believed, I would say it's a myth. Because if the other person's horoscope is strong enough, it doesn't matter. Okay, and we are only, it is extremely important for you to have complete knowledge over the subject, because half-hearted knowledge is very dangerous,
Yes.
And what it does is most of the time, it backfires, because people are not knowing what needs to do, what needs to be done. People are coming up with all sorts of pujas and all, more than the puja and everything else. Dashas are very important. People will keep changing vastu and everything. That's important, I agree. But more than that, what dashas are you going through?
Yeah.
Suppose if somebody is going through Shani Mahadasha, then you are stuck in a traffic jam and are not able to move forward. Because Saturn is a very slow planet. So it is not very good for entrepreneurs. But if you are undergoing your Guru Mahadasha, Jupiter Mahadasha, it's very, very good.
So, if I'm having the Saturn Mahadasha that you just mentioned, and I want to do a startup, should I not do it, or should I do remedies for Saturn, I suppose?
Yeah, you should do. You should.
But even then, it's not optimal, I suppose.
No, it's not like that. The thing is that you have to understand the nature of the planet, in the sense that what Saturn expects from you. It expects discipline. It expects like you being very honest. Expects that you lead a very disciplined life, like getting up
Okay.
5 in the morning and going back to sleep at 10, and not having too much of spicy food, not gossiping, treating the people who are working under you with utmost respect. Now, if you understand this, I'm not saying that 100% of your problems are going to
Right.
get vanished, but at least you would be able
Wait,
to
wait, wait. I understand. You cater to the planet.
you cater to the planet.
Yeah.
And at the
Got
same time, you are basically doing what? You're doing energy alignment.
Yes.
That's what is important.
You mentioned sleeping. That raised something to me. This is something I'm myself suffering from, and a lot of people on the planet are
Yeah.
getting up in the 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then
That's
being
the
awake for
Brahma
a while.
Muhurt time. That's a
But
very
why is
auspicious
that
time.
happening?
Because the divine wants you to know certain things about your life.
But why? Because the problem with that is I'm not, I'm half asleep, so I'm not fully awake. I'm not
Yeah.
productive.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what I do, I just go sit in front of my laptop and work.
Yeah.
But I'm half asleep, so I can't even really do that. So what I end up doing is just lying in bed looking at Netflix,
Yeah.
which is kind of a waste. So I mean, what is the deeper meaning behind that? Because a lot of people it's happening.
So it is happening because we all are going through a major shift
Yes.
in the universe. Post-COVID, the universal matrix has changed. Now, whatever we are going through, and this is something again which I need to mention, that till 20th of May 2025, the timing is not very good for anyone. So be aware of where you are going, how well you are speaking, what are you speaking. Okay, if you don't have to go out, don't travel unnecessarily, don't talk unnecessarily, just be a little detached, because you need to understand what the divine wants to tell you. And this decade from 2020 to 2030 is the toughest decade of the century. So if we are not taking care of your spiritual health, we are going to suffer immensely. I'm not giving you anything to scare you. I'm just making you aware, because once you are aware, you can manipulate your energies.
So, this has been absolutely wonderful, fascinating. I greatly enjoyed this, but we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Is there any final bits of advice you'd like to give to our viewers?
Yeah. Astrologically, being an entrepreneur, being a social activist, being somebody who is a gold medalist in economics, I'm reintroducing myself. But why am I doing it? That there is a very beautiful quote, which is what I go by. Devotion to duty. Understand this very well. Devotion to duty is not sacrifice. It is the justification for your existence on this planet. So if you're doing something which you like and you have to make sacrifices in order to, cater to your dreams, don't make a huge thing out of it, because you're doing it to make yourself peaceful. You're not doing it for others.
Absolutely. You brought up duty, and that again brings up something very interesting. Everything you say brings up something of my own spirituality.
That does, and it should.
One thing I've realized, there's many astral planes.
Absolutely.
There's like the heaven astral plane, the Asura's astral plane, the fire astral plane. I have realized this, where we are, is the duty astral plane.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that is why the Bhagavad Gita says, do your duty.
Artha Kama Moksha Dharma.
And we are in the duty astral plane, and we
Yes.
have to do it. And as the Gita says, do it for the sake of doing the duty, not for the expectation of the reward.
True.
So, you brought up the duty, so that's what brought up that to me.
Yeah.
This one thing I've realized myself in my own sort of journey and awareness. So anyway, wonderful. Rinhee's information is going to be down in the description below the comments. So please, let's have a lively discussion on everything she said. It's absolutely fascinating. And thank you again, Rinhee, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here, sir. It's an absolute pleasure to be with a person who himself knows so much about your subject, because not many people do that. They keep, and also one more thing, I'm not saying because I'm having a conversation with sir, but it shows the kind of values he has as a person, because if the host is speaking a lot, that doesn't give the other person to speak, the chance to speak, and you will not know about things, so that shows his greatness. And I would really, really pray to everyone to actually subscribe to the channel. If you really love me, all the IFTCA members especially, please subscribe and support him, because he's a fantastic soul, he's a gem. So just support him as much as you can. Thank you.